So ex-Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz is very, very upset. He wants you to stop calling him a billionaire. Well, now that's weird. But let me give you some details here about what this human dumpster fire is. I'm sorry, human dumpster fire of a campaign is trying to advocate for. For one, they are advocating for lowering or keeping corporate taxes fairly low and actually servicing the debt by cutting so-called entitlements. This is to show you what Howard Schultz is actually running on. So now, as far as the billionaires thing, now, in doing this, he actually does address the issue of money in politics, but he wants you to make sure that you don't use the word billionaire because it hurts his feelings. In an interview with CNBC, the former CEO appeared to take a personal offense at being described as a billionaire. He said that people should instead use the term people of wealth or people of means. Wow. He said, quote, "The moniker billionaire now has become the catchphrase." The catchphrase, of course, pushed by AOC and Bernie Sanders. He said, "I would rephrase that, and I would say people of means have been able to leverage their wealth and their interest in ways that are unfair." Now, look, he's actually correct on that point. People like Howard Schultz. Now, Howard Schultz was a massive Democratic donor. So now, of course, he left the Democratic Party. He's now running as a quote-unquote centrist independent because he feels that the Democratic Party has gone too far towards the people. Now, he'll say, oh, and they went too radical left. But really, the Democratic Party, specifically people like AOC, Ilhan Omar, and some of the others, Ro Khanna, all these great progressives, Bernie Sanders, have actually gone towards the people. And policies like Medicare for All, which has 70% approval among the American public, 84% approval among Democrats. And things like tuition-free higher education, also super popular, and a living wage, and even a Green New Deal. So all that stuff, Howard Schultz says, "Ooh, we can't have that." No, that's radical, that's fringe. But in reality, where Howard Schultz is sitting in cutting entitlements for deficit debt reduction, that's actually the fringe idea, and it's ultra conservative. And so it's a conservative talking point. So anyway, the point though that he makes about money in politics is a fair one, and it's likely because he knows that from personal experience. Now, as far as calling him a person of means or a person of wealth, yeah, there's no way I'm going to be using that. People of wealth? Come on. You're literally offended by being called a billionaire. These people are such snowflakes. First, they cry about increasing taxes on them fairly. Now, I remember, what was it, Michael Dell, when they were in Davos, was talking about, oh, what country has ever done 70% marginal taxes on the rich? And the answer to that was, America. America used to do it. And guess what? When we tax the rich fairly, with marginal tax rates, that doesn't mean taxing all your income, marginal, right? Which means anything over, back then it was $2 million, now AOC has been talking about, and a lot of progressives are talking about $10 million, right? So anything over $10 million gets taxed at a higher percentage, at 70%. So these billionaires, though, they're crying about it because, oh my God, you're taxing me fairly. When was that ever done? In America. During the most prosperous time of American history. And you don't think there's a correlation? As soon as we started cutting taxes massively for the rich, and of course deregulating industry and busting unions, guess what? The middle class started shrinking, and the incomes of the rich have gotten even bigger. So that's a bit problematic. But no, these guys, they're acting like the victims. No, the world's billionaires hold more wealth than the bottom half of everyone. These are just a few hundred billionaires that hold more wealth than pretty much the entirety of half of the world's population. 3.7 billion people. So, don't come at me with that woe is me bullcrap. In America, we had people freezing to death, homeless people, during the polar vortex. At the same time, where you had a football team owner that bought the first yacht that featured a full-sized IMAX screen. Get out of here. No, the whole purpose of Howard Schultz running is to protect his wealth and privilege from taxation. And mainly, of course, his wealth. Look, if anything, Howard Schultz's campaign basically shows you how out of touch these people are. And also shows you how many people actually know it. Why? It's because Howard Schultz is deeply, deeply unpopular. There's a recent Change Research poll that was released last week, and it found that Howard Schultz's favorability in the race sits at a total of 4%, with both Democrats, Republicans, and independent voters. He is not popular. Nobody wants him. Not only that, but another poll showed that Schultz would apparently take up to 4 points away from the Democratic nominee and only 1 point away from Trump. So, Howard, if you want Trump, you vote for Howard Schultz. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.